Welcome to the Wind Up with Will, everyone. I'm your host, Will, again here with another episode talking about your favorite thing, my favorite thing, sports. This week I'm going to talk about the NFL Conference Championship games, as well as some college basketball, some coaching hires, and whatnot. Let's go ahead and get into it. Over this weekend, there's been two huge wins for a couple of my teams. My Butler Bulldogs here just won Friday night against Creighton, 13th ranked team in the nation. They beat them at Creighton. The score was 99-98, very high scoring affair. Second big win on the road against a ranked Big East team for Butler, really putting them in the bubble spot there. They should be getting some votes, maybe, especially if they can get another win or two in this tough stretch that they're about to be in. They should be starting to get some votes. Also, my alumni, or my I'm an alumni. My alma mater, my alma mater, Murray State. There's a bunch of posters right over here with Murray State on it. Um, my alma mater won yesterday on the road at Northern Iowa, a team in the Missouri Valley that Murray has not beat yet. We were 0-3 against them before, and we finally beat them at Northern Iowa. It was a blowout performance. Make sure I get the right score. We beat them 71-43, almost 30 points. And there was a time in the game where we did lead by 30 points. That's a huge win for Murray State. Huge win for us. We've lost four in a row and had two horrible losses at home, blowing a 20-point lead and a 15-point lead. So it's good to see a big win like that on the road against a Northern Iowa team that is probably better than us. So maybe that's a good sign for Murray going forward for the rest of the season. Maybe we can make a good push into the Missouri Valley Conference and St. Louis. That's just coming up in next month. And me and my dad have got tickets to go there, so I'm excited to go watch my Racers play in St. Louis. Um, it also brings up another topic: women's college basketball. If you don't follow basketball, especially women's college basketball, you might not have heard of the current prodigy playing in women's basketball. That's Caitlin Clark, literally the Steph Curry of women's basketball. She's chasing the all-time scoring mark in women's college basketball. Let me pull up the figures. I know going into last night she was 103 points short. I'll have to look up to see how many she scored last night. I know at one point she was in the high 30s. She's chasing Kelsey Plumlee, who played her college ball at Washington. She's a current star in the women's NBA, playing for the Las Vegas Aces. Caitlin Clark plays for Iowa's women's team, who's currently sitting in the number 3 in the AP poll. I'm actually going to see them play at Indiana and on February 22nd with my cousin and a friend. We're going to go see them play Indiana, who's currently ranked 10th, I believe. So that's going to be a great matchup. I'm looking forward to that. Trying to pull up the all-time scoring record. So Caitlin Clark is she is 65 points away from the all-time scoring mark. When I bought the tickets a while ago and I'd looked it up, I'd seen where she had a chance. She was on pace to break the all-time scoring record in mid-February, late February, and I got kind of excited thinking, we've got tickets to the Indiana game. Sorry, my camera is not liking the angle that I'm at. Um, Knowing that she might break it while we're there, but she's just on a current run where she's gonna obliviate the record before we get there. They've got several more games before they play at Indiana. So she was 103 points away before last night. I believe she was 103 points away before last night. She scored 38 last night, so that puts her at, trying to do quick math in my head. Yeah, 65 points away. She's 65 points away. She's scoring over 30 a game, so she's probably going to do it within the next two games. They have Penn State at home, then they play on the road at Nebraska. Now, she'll probably break it on the road at Nebraska. Um, The following game after that, they play Michigan at home. And initially, I was thinking that she's just going to score enough to beat it at Michigan, and I was going to see her the next game. But it's kind of looking like she's going to break it at Nebraska, unless they just get a big enough lead and decide to pull her to save her to break the record at home. But I don't see that happening. From having watched her and follow her, she's really a baller. She likes to play, and I watched the game the other night where they destroyed Northwestern by like 30 some points. And even when the game was way out of hand, they just kept her in the game. She just kept scoring points. So like she's very well breaking that in the next two games. 65 points is nothing to her. She's scoring over 30 a game. But I'm excited to see them play in late February against Indiana, a top 10 ranked team. That's going to be a phenomenal game against two powerhouse teams there. But she's so close to breaking the all-time record again that Kelsey Plum set just a few years ago. I think that's all I've got for. Oh well, last night in men's basketball, I'll just go over a few scores. You had North Carolina beat Duke last night in the battle of the Blue Bloods. There, North Carolina beat them 93-84. UConn won again over St. John's. Texas upset TCU. Kansas held on to beat Houston, number 8 versus number 4 in the nation. Cincinnati upset number 15 Texas Tech. That's who my Butler Bulldogs beat early in the year, Texas Tech. Auburn beat Ole Miss. And Tennessee upset UK, number 5 versus number 10 there. Tennessee is looking good. I have a Tennessee fan that's a coworker, and he was just kind of talking about them the other day. And yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah, they're five in the nation. Just beat UK. I'd say they're pretty good. And then today you had Purdue beat Wisconsin 75-69. Purdue's the number 2 ranked team in the nation, and you've got Wisconsin, the 6th ranked team in the nation. We're just a little over a month away from March Madness. Got conference tournaments going on, a bunch of seeding, selection Sunday, and then the actual tournament. I'm really excited for it this year. I know my team, Murray State, is a little down. Our hope is maybe go on a run in the conference tournament and win that. Butler, though, has a good shot at being an at-large team if we keep up winning there. But I think it is like every year. March Madness is always worth watching. Get a bunch of good teams out there, and the women's tournament's fun to watch too. I watched some of that last year. Super phenomenal watching Iowa and LSU make the final last year. So I'm excited for both those to fill out my bracket. Moving on over to the NFL now and the conference championships. So last weekend they had the AFC and NFC title games, and the AFC was between the Chiefs and the Ravens. Man, I'm getting tongue-tied today. And the NFC was between the Lions and the 49ers. The AFC championship game, the Ravens were the favorite team in the number 1 seed. They've had probably the best team all year. They beat the 49ers pretty handedly. They've beaten almost every team. Their only losses have been to some bad teams. They lost to the Steelers twice. They lost to the Colts, and they lost to the Browns, who are a decent team, but at times they lost to the Browns, and the Browns did not have much of an offense. So that was kind of a befuddling loss there. But the Ravens have looked phenomenal. Their defense has completely dominated teams at times. They're the best defense in the league, and first time ever that they host an AFC title game. You just think it's their year. They're the team of destiny, but it wasn't meant to be. They're playing Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Chiefs at home. And I got my prediction wrong. I said the Ravens would win. The Chiefs won 17-10. Now, some notable things about this game is Lamar Jackson, who's probably going to win the NFL MVP this year, he did not play very well in the game. He had a pick that was thrown into like triple coverage. It was absolutely a horrible throw. And he didn't look good. He didn't make great passes. Their offense just struggled. And the Chiefs have a good defense, but like the Ravens' offense just not look in sync at all in that game. And it didn't help that they'd had one big play in the game where they scored kind of a deep touchdown pass. I believe it was Zay Flowers. Yeah, to Zay Flowers, a 30-yard touchdown pass early in the game, make it 7-7. That was in the first quarter. And they didn't really do anything on offense after that. They struggled to move the ball. They kept punting it. But their defense was holding strong and keeping the Chiefs from really running away from the game, who were just kind of dominating time of possession and getting first downs continuously. The Ravens were just going 3-and-out a bunch. But finally, late in the game, when it's I'll have to look at what the score was at the time. I don't think it was a one possession game. Um, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I thought. So the Chiefs had a 17-7 lead late in the what quarter was this? I believe the third quarter. Yeah. In the third quarter. 17-7. Chiefs dominated the whole game. And finally, the Ravens put together a drive. They throw a deep pass to Zay Flowers. Um, it was a 54-yard pass. I thought it was around 50 yards. 54-yard pass to Zay Flowers, all the way to Kansas City's 10. It's going to be first and goal from Kansas City's 10. But Zay Flowers does one of the most stupid things I've ever seen. After catching the ball and getting downed, he gets up and shoves the defender that tackled him over, says something while standing over him, and gets a taunting penalty that backs them up 15 yards. Such a stupid play. Such a stupid play. You're about to be first and goal. Your offense has done nothing all game, and you want to flex on a guy? No, like that's just stupid. That's just not understanding the situation in the game. I even not even the situation. That's just a stupid thing to do. Like you don't taunt people like that. If you want to flex, if you want to throw the ball or like wave at the fans or what, but don't do it in another player's face. You're gonna get hit with taunting anytime. Unless you're Travis Kelce, he got no penalties for any of the taunting he did during that game or anything he said. But anyway, they still have the ball, but backed up 15 yards. It takes them several more plays to get within range, and then when they finally get within the 10-yard line again, they throw it to Zay Flowers, who then proceeds to fumble it through the end zone to hand the ball over to the Chiefs. He was literally the scapegoat on this drive. Not only had the horrible penalty, then he fumbles the ball away. It was just not a good possession there for the Ravens, and it just really fit the rest of the game. Their offense could not do anything, and they just kept shooting themselves in the foot. Jackson had the bad interception. Zay Flowers had the bad penalty, the bad fumble. They just could not do anything right, and they still only lost by 7 points. They kicked a field goal with a little over 2 minutes to go in the game to make it 17-10. But if they could have scored on that Zay Flowers possession or on the possession which when Lamar threw it, the interception, they were in, I think, in the red zone or about to be in the red zone. So those were points left off the board that they very well could have had that could have changed the outcome of this game. But also like the fumble through the end zone, I didn't really hear it as much on this one, but you hear it all the time from some NFL pundits, members of the media, especially people like Rich Eisen, that will say, "Well, we need to get rid of this. Is a horrible rule, the fumble through the end zone." Listen, there are no rules that really benefit the defense. None at all. Like you breathe on a guy, you breathe on a wide receiver, and it's illegal contact. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down. Every rule, every penalty almost benefits the offense. Hardly ever do any of the rule changes or anything benefit the defense. This is a rule that benefits the defense and rewards them for standing tough in the red zone against another team. And it punishes the offense for being reckless with the football. It also probably, I'm sure this rule was in place beforehand, but it kind of reminds me of the Holy Roller incident. So, like, if you don't know about that, back in the 70s in a playoff game, the Steelers and Raiders played one another, and the Raiders late in the game fumbled the ball, perhaps intentionally, and just continued to kick it and muff it forward 20 yards until it was in the end zone and a Raiders player fell on it for a touchdown. That's why in NFL games now you can't fumble the ball forward in the last, I think, 2 minutes of the game, or if it's fumbled, you can't recover your own team's fumble and run it forward at the end of the game. It's to prevent another holy roller incident where you just get reckless with the ball and a wild gamble to score. And I think you can make the argument there as well that, hey, you're fumbling the ball forward, like, but people will say, well, it should be like that rule. You can't fumble the ball forward in the last 2 minutes of the game, and you just get the ball back where you fumbled it. Yeah, but it's going into the end zone. It's rolling out of the end zone. You were reckless with the ball. When you fumble the ball through the back of your own end zone, it's a safety, and the defense is rewarded 10 points. When you kick the ball into the end zone, it's a touchback for the receiving team. When you have the ball and you fumble it through the other team's end zone, it makes sense that you lose the ball and it's a touchback for the defense. It makes sense. It punishes the offense for being reckless with the ball, and it rewards the defense for standing tough and perhaps knocking the ball out of the offensive player's hands, which was the case in that game. So I see nothing wrong with that rule. I think it should stay. The defense doesn't have anything that benefits it. We should not continue to take things away from the defense. This is a good rule that should stay. And there are other people that agree with me. Don't just listen to the people on the main sports networks that say otherwise. There are people who think it should stay. So the Chiefs are going back to their 4th Super Bowl in 6 years. I think it's 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, or is it 4 Super Bowls in 5 years? Four Super Bowls in 5 years, yes, because they won it 2019, they lost 2020, 21 was the Rams and Bengals, 22, which was last year they beat the Eagles. So it's their 4th Super Bowl in 5 years. 4th Super Bowl in 5 years. They played in 6 straight AFC title games. They are a dynasty now. That is what they are. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have replaced Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. That's what they are now. They are the team in the NFL. They are the dynasty. They are the Death Star. They're the empire. They're the evil empire. They win it all every year now, and everyone's going to hate them. And that's just how it goes. They're the team at the top. Everyone else wants to be them. Everyone wants to beat them. Everyone wants someone else to win. So they're back in the Super Bowl for their 4th time in 5 years, looking to go back to back. They are the team to beat. They are the team. That is if it wasn't for the team on the other side. In the NFC, you had the Lions and 49ers, and I apologize, I'm probably about to get on a soapbox here. The Lions and 49ers played each other in an NFC title game. The Lions is their first NFC title game since 1991, back when they had Barry Sanders. The 49ers are by far the better team. I think they were favored. What were they favored in this game? They were favored. Where is it? They were favored by 7.5. The Lions at one point in this game, going into halftime, led 24-7. 24-7. The 49ers won 34-31. The Lions had a 17-point lead and blew it in the NFC title game. And if you didn't watch the game, you didn't watch the highlights, you didn't hear the story somehow, this loss is on the coach, the head coach for the Lions. It's absolutely abominable decisions in this game. The entire loss is solely on his shoulders. You could maybe blame one other person, but we'll get to that in a second. So the Lions dominated the first half. They were ahead 21-7, and they got the ball to end the first half, go down. They're about to score. They get stopped. It's 4th down. I think it's like 4th and 5 or something like that. Maybe I think it's like 4th and 5. It's 4th and goal, but they're at like the 5-yard line. Instead of going for it, they opt to kick a field goal and go up 17 points. So they go up 24-7. Well, to start the second half, the 49ers go down and kick a field goal, make it 24-10. Cut it to a 2-touchdown game. That's doable for the 49ers. Well, the Lions go down the field, and the 49ers hold them to a 4th and 2 situation, but the Lions could kick a field goal and go up 17 again. Instead of kicking the field goal, they go for it on 4th and 2, and they don't get it. Now, the wide receiver, Josh Reynolds, very well could have caught the pass. He's someone else you can blame this game. He could have caught the pass. He could have caught a pass later on in the game, and you could say if he makes those 2 catches, the game has a different outcome. And maybe so. Maybe it does have a different outcome. But the reality is he didn't make those catches. And the one on the 4th down was not a great throw to him, but still catchable ball. But I blame the coach for going for it on 4th and 2 there. You're ahead 2 scores in the NFC title game. You're not behind. You're not chasing the other team. You're up 14 points. If you kick the field goal, you're up 17 points. Back to what you were before the 49ers started the second half with the ball. So you have an advantage. You're just all you have to do is match at this point. You just match what the 49ers do. They score, you score back, and you win the game. You don't have to do anything fancy. But the Lions' philosophy all year has been to go for it on 4th and short situations, and it's worked for them at times, but it's also bit them at times. I looked to the Cowboys-Lions game a few weeks ago, and the Lions probably win that game if not for they would win the game if it wasn't for the ref's horrible call or horrible decision that somehow that lineman did not report as eligible. I don't know. I'm a Cowboys fan. I have no idea how that guy did not report as eligible. He's right there by the referee. But when they called that penalty as him not reporting eligible in the Cowboys game, so it negates the 2-point conversion. They lose 5 yards, and they still decide to go for the 2-point conversion, almost out of spite, almost an emotional decision by Dan Campbell to go for the win rather than just kicking the extra point at that point and forcing overtime. Well, when they do that, the Cowboys are then offsides, which gets the 5 yards back, and then still they've had 3 chances to kick the extra point and tie the game to force overtime, and they go for it. They go for the 2-point conversion on each one of them. And on the third and final try, where they're close again, they don't get it. And it was just not good decision making there by Dan Campbell. Same thing in the NFC title game, except not really an emotional decision, but more probably of a gamble of, well, it's worked for us all year. We're up 14 points. If we convert 4th down, maybe we go to score a touchdown. We go up 21 points. We go up 3 touchdowns. That'd be huge. So, of course, Dan Campbell's probably thinking in that mindset of we've done this all year. It's worked for us. If we gamble and it pays off, good. If it doesn't, we still have the lead. Well, they don't get the 4th down conversion in the NFC title game. The 49ers go down the field and score a touchdown, make it 24-17. So you just had a massive point swing. So instead of being up 17 points again, you're only up 7. You had a 10-point swing the other way. You had a 10-point swing. That's huge. That's huge for the 49ers and detrimental to the Lions. Instead of kicking the field goal and being up 17 points again, you go for it on 4th down and don't get it. So you're only up 14. Well, the 49ers go straight down the field and score a touchdown. It's only a 7-point game now. And then on the ensuing possession by the Lions, they fumble the ball, and the 49ers then score a touchdown to tie the game 24-all. The 49ers then kick a field goal to go up 27-24, and the Lions go down the field again, and in a 4th and 3 situation, and a makeable field goal again. Instead of kicking the field goal to tie the game, they go for it again and don't get it. And there was also a catch on one of the earlier drives thrown to Josh Reynolds on a 3rd and 10 that he dropped. That was before the 49ers went down and took the lead on a field goal. I think it was on that Lions possession. He dropped a 3rd and 10 where he converts it. Maybe they go down and kick a field goal or score or something. But they go for it on 4th and 3 and don't get it. They could have kicked the field goal and tie the game. That to me, that is the one that is the most condemning on Dan Campbell. When you're up 17 and you go for, or sorry, when you're up 14 and you go for it on 4th and 2, trying to get a 3 touchdown lead. Okay, I can kind of understand you're going for the nail in the coffin. If they score that third touchdown, it's, hey, we're up 3 touchdowns over them now. All we have to do is cruise the rest of the way. But you don't get it. That starts the whole momentum swing, which is unfortunate. Football's really a game of momentum at times. But it's excusable because they're up 14 points. Is what they've done all year, and the wide receiver should have caught the ball. But later in the game, when it gets to the fourth quarter and you're down three. It already failed the first time you did it, and you don't take the points on the board. I'm sorry, that's just inexcusable. If I was a Lions fan, I'd be calling for that guy's head. I don't understand, and I see this across the league all the time now. Is so many coaches will gamble and go for it on 4th down or go for 2-point conversions all the time, and they just end up chasing points that they've already left on the board. They end up having to go for 2 at the end of the game because they went for 2 at the beginning of the game. Or they have to go for it on 4th and down in this situation because they went for it on 4th and down in the earlier situation, where instead of just making the right conservative play sometimes, and I know it's not fun to go for the conservative play of punting or kicking the field goal, but sometimes you've got to make those decisions. Actually, a lot of times you need to make those decisions in order to put your team in a better spot to win the game. Kicking the field goal is the right and sensible thing. I'm sorry if that offends you. But when you're up 14 points and in the NFC title game, you kick the dang field goal. It's literally like Stephen A. Smith, stay off the weed. But it's kick the field goal. That's all you have to do is kick the field goal. You take the points. In the NFL today with kickers, almost anything within 50 is almost automatic. I don't know why you don't take the points. I understand if you're trailing in that game, like like if you're down 4 with a minute to go, or if you're down 10 in the fourth quarter or something like that. It would make sense for the 49ers to go for it on 4th down situations because they trail by 17 at one point in this game. But it doesn't make sense for the Lions to. They're up 14. And then at the end of the game, they're behind by 3. You kick the field goal to tie the game. You take the points. You match them in points. And like someone said, if both of those 4th-down conversions work, Dan Campbell's being praised as well. The gamble paid off. He made a gutsy call and it worked. And maybe he would be. But the matter of the fact is, we have the perspective. We know what happened. And in retrospect, it was a bad decision. It didn't work. They didn't get any points instead, and they ended up losing the game. Now, at the end of the game, when they fail the 4th-down conversion again, the 49ers go down the field and score another touchdown, go up 10. Well, at the very end of the game, the Lions drive the length of the field, score a touchdown to cut it to a 3-point game. But even on that drive, they made stupid decisions. They wasted time, and then it's a little over a minute to go. They have 3 timeouts. So if they score a touchdown and get it back to the 49ers, they could, in theory, force the 49ers on a 3-and-out, use all 3 other timeouts, get the ball back, and kick a long field goal to tie the game. They still have that possibility. Well, what do on 1st and goal? They run the ball. Just make sure I say it clearly enough. They ran the ball on the 3-yard line with a minute to go in the game with 3 timeouts, trailing 10 points. I don't know what to say to that. That is just another if I was a Lions fan, I would be calling for Dan Campbell's head. This was the entire second half was a horrible, horrible, horrible example of what not to do as a head coach. You don't run the ball there. You throw the ball, so you save time because if it's an incomplete pass, the clock stops. If you score the touchdown, because you're probably not going to catch it and be short on like the 3 yard line, you're going to catch it in the end zone. You're going to score the touchdown and be down three. You have three timeouts. You could theoretically still force a three and out, but instead they run the ball and they get completely stuffed. And so they have to use one of those three timeouts. So now they only have two. Now, when they finally do score the touchdown with Jared Goff, like a play later, they have to go for an onside kick. They can't force a three and out. They have to get an onside kick. And the onside kick doesn't go as well. It doesn't even go 10 yards before a Lions player touches it, so it's a penalty. 49ers recovered it anyway. It's just a horrible decision. Going for it on fourth down twice in that game and running the ball on first and goal when it's like a minute left in the game and you have three timeouts. Because you have to waste a timeout then to stop the clock so you can score the first time. Horrible coaching decisions by Dan Campbell. And I want to preface this. Dan Campbell is a good coach. He has turned the Lions into a good football team. He's part of the reason that they're there in the NFC title game. This hard-nosed philosophy of gambling and go for it on fourth down, of biting off people's kneecaps. He's a great coach, but it might just be the inexperience, and especially not playing in a ton of big games, that those bad decisions were made. If they ever get back to the NFC title game next year or 5 years from now, I would expect him not to make these same coaching mistakes. But this is infuriating, and I know I'm on my soapbox, but as a Cowboys fan, I hate the 49ers, so I did not want to see them go to the Super Bowl again. But they held on to win 34-31. Brock Purdy is I think he's an incredible story for the. I don't want to make it all about the Lions blowing the game. The 49ers are a great team. Christian McCaffrey, I've said it for well over half the season, should be the league MVP over Lamar Jackson. I know Lamar Jackson's a great quarterback, had a phenomenal season, but Christian McCaffrey is really what has made that 49ers team work. They traded for him last year, and ever since then, they've played in two straight NFC title games. So I think he ought to win MVP. Brock Purdy has looked phenomenal. He's really thrown himself in, especially if he can win this Super Bowl, he's going to throw himself into elite quarterback company. And the fact that he's Mr. Irrelevant in the NFL draft last year, I think it's incredible. Um, Incredible story for him. So we got a rematch of the Super Bowl a few years ago where Patrick Mahomes won his first Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the 49ers. And that will be next weekend, actually. This weekend is the Pro Bowl. I don't know anyone that's going to watch a flag football version of the Pro Bowl. Certainly not me. I could care less about the. Actually, that's today. Well, no, I don't care about the Pro Bowl. You probably don't either. It's not anything special. They put on flag. They wear flags now and play in it. It's not that fun. But the Super Bowl will be next weekend, next Sunday, between the Chiefs and 49ers. I think Usher is supposed to be the halftime show. And more than likely, I've seen, even though Taylor Swift has a concert in Japan the night before, she'll probably still be at the Super Bowl. So we've got what everyone in America wanted, Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl as well as the 49ers. Um, I think everyone was rooting for the Ravens and Lions for multiple reasons. But we've got a rematch. It should be a great game between what is essentially the Tom Brady now of this next generation of football players, as well as Brock Purdy, this rising star, and this very talented 49ers team. It's going to be a great game. I'm going to say the Chiefs win over the 49ers. I'll say they win 34-28. No, I take that 35. I'll say 35-28. 35-28. I think it'll be a great game. It's almost what my prediction was before the season. And if you go back and watch that video, my prediction was the Bengals beating the 49ers in the Super Bowl. But we did not get that. Instead, we get the Chiefs. Again, there was a different AFC North team that made the conference championship, but they couldn't pull it out. But the 49ers, who were my preseason pick to make it out of the NFC, have made it there. But I'm going to say the Chiefs win. I think it's hard at this point to bet against Mahomes. I think it's hard to bet against him. But that's what the Super Bowl matchup is. Chiefs 49ers. I'll see what the actual line is. The 49ers are favored by 1.5. They've been favored in every game. I think. Did that say 49ers? Yeah, 49ers are favored by 1.5. They've been favored in every one of their games this year, which is incredible. At least that's what I've heard. I think that's accurate. They've been favoring all their games, but I think this will be a game that they're going to lose. I'm picking the Chiefs to win this game 35-28. I think it's hard to bet against Mahomes in the Super Bowl. But it's going to be a phenomenal game, phenomenal halftime. I'm looking forward to it. I know this video's gone on long enough. I'm sorry I get on my soapbox there about coaching. Let me know in the comments down below who you think's going to win this Super Bowl. Is it going to be Mahomes and the Chiefs? Is it going to be Brock Purdy and the 49ers? Who deserves the NFL MVP? What do you think about college basketball? Who's going to win that in March Madness upcoming? Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.